Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and welcome to our Best of Success podcast show. Today is such a great day because I'm here with our good friend, Trent Cotney.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Partner with Adams and Reese.
Yep.
Trent, great to see you. We're on the show floor here at FRSA. Down in Florida, it's kind of toasty out there. It's been raining a lot.
It is, yeah, but I tell you, the show's been packed.
Oh, yesterday I heard a rumor. I'm not sure. We'll be able to report on this later, but they broke the record for how many people were on the show floor.
Just constant traffic. I've never seen anything like it.
It was packed. I've got some footage that we'll be able to show later on, sure. But there's two questions I want to talk to you about, Trent, because I know that, and we're always grateful for all the legal insights that you provide all the contractors listening, because we know how valuable your time is. But first, so yesterday you gave a great presentation on about subs and how that owner is responsible for really everybody on your job site.
Right.
Can you talk everybody through that? Because I've got some questions.
Yeah. So, we get a lot of questions about, if I have a sub or a sub that has caused a problem on a job site, whether it's defective workmanship or something else, am I liable as the prime roofing contractor or the prime contractor? And the answer is that from a customer standpoint, you're responsible for everything downfield from you. So it doesn't matter whether you have a sub, anything that happens that is within your contractual food chain, you're ultimately liable to the customer. The customer's going to look to you. They're not going to look to your sub. Right. So everything flows downhill.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the case. So now if the owner contracts directly with another trade, then that's their issue. But if it's within your contractual food chain, you're liable all the way down to the bottom.
Got it. So it doesn't matter whether it's drywall or whether it's roofing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things you need to understand is that, it doesn't mean you can't assert indemnification claims or look to their insurance or pass those claims down.
Yeah.
Right? You still have that capability, but the customer's still going to come after you and whoever's in the prime position.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So I'm an owner and I'm on a job site and I've got somebody, three subs down the line has messed something up.
Right.
So how does that play out in court? Because if I don't even know that my sub has a sub that has a sub,
right,
how does that play out in court? And how am I really held liable? That doesn't seem fair if I don't even know that is an issue.
Owner sues prime third parties in subcontractor, or if they know of other subs, they third party them in.
Right.
Those third parties then fourth party in.
Oh my gosh.
And then you end up with all the parties at one table. That's ultimately what happens. We have one now where we've brought in a fifth tier subcontractor. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Really, how often does that actually happen?
Only on big jobs.
Okay.
Right. Typically you might get down to a sub, but typically only on real big jobs, so you're going to see that level, of degree of distance.
Yeah, so I guess it really comes down to the judge, right? Seems like it always does. But so how do you think it's going to play out?
Yeah, look, I think the claims will be assessed against the prime position, and then in turn, all those claims will be assessed downstream as far as indemnification and liability.
Okay.
So, and typically what happens is insurance appears if there's a damage to other person or property, and I would say 98% of the time those cases settle before they go to trial.
Okay.
So typically most construction cases, because they're costly, because you need a lot of experts, which oftentimes cost more than lawyers, there's an incentive to get cases resolved, and the court system has pushed that hard. Now if it goes to arbitration, a little bit of a different story. Typically there's more arbitrations that go the distance than court cases. So
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning then. What should every contractor listening do to protect themselves from any of that, having to have five attorneys,
right,
5 subs?
Yeah, so what you want to do obviously is make sure that you got a strong subcontract agreement, that you're limiting your subcontractor's ability to retain other trades, other subs.
Oh, okay.
And you're making sure that your quality control person, your superintendent on the job site, is identifying everybody that's on that project.
Okay.
Not only for liability purposes, but also to make sure that everybody is covered by workers' comp. So, we've got a lot of reports in the residential space where a sub will bring in 5 guys that they just found somewhere.
Yeah.
Those 5 guys don't have any comp on them, right? Workers' comp. And oftentimes a lot of the claims that you see come from bad guy lawyers that are retained by employees of a sub crew that have been hurt that don't have comp.
Okay.
So that is the key thing, is you want a good subcontractor checklist so that you are making sure that you know who's on that job, you're getting copies of all their insurance, all that kind of stuff, and you're limiting any of that downfield delegation. Okay. That way you got your arms around it. If you do have subs, then you want to make sure that you're putting the burden on your subcontractor
Right.
to get you all that information that you need upstream. So you may need lien releases, certified payrolls, whatever it is that you need. You're putting that on your direct contractual relationship.
Got it.
So a lot of it is about quality control on the job site.
All right, so start your quality control from the beginning.
That's it. You got it.
And as you've always said, I love repeating this because you always say that the contractor with the best paper trail always wins.
Yep, that's it.
So there you
That's
go.
party of the best paper wins the day, period.
I got it.
That's it.
That's
Yep.
awesome. All right, well, the last thing I want to talk to you about, Trent, is about ICE, about the ICE raids. I mean, it's been reported on really the mainstream news that they're ramping up.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's going beyond just like the criminals. And that we have had a lot of reports, especially in the roofing industry, that they're showing up on job sites.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's happening on the walls and ceiling side as well. But what do we need to do? Like, what are the odds really that ICE is going to show up on your job site?
Yeah.
And how can owners really, I guess, take the fear out of the minds of their employees? Because I've heard even here throughout the day that there's subs that are not showing up because they're afraid.
Yes. Yeah. So, the overall, if you think about the thousands upon thousands of construction projects that are happening any day, the odds that ICE shows up on your job site are relatively low.
Yeah.
1% or less that you're going to have.
It's that low. So 1% or less. Okay.
If you think about the total number of projects that are out there, now if there has been a consumer complaint or a competitor's complaint, then obviously that, you're targeted. But it's relatively low considering the total number of things that are out there. One thing I'll mention is that with the big, beautiful bill, if that gets passed in some form, there's a lot of money that's been allocated to increase the number of, representatives from ICE to help engage in these, deportations, ICE officers.
Yeah.
So if that happens, you can see it go well beyond that.
Okay.
But employers, what they can do is, obviously support their employees. There are employee rights cards that you can give, to say, hey, here are the rights I have. I got the right to remain silent. I got the right to, give them access to employee immigration lawyers that can assist them in the event that happens. Discuss things, have open, honest communications with them. Everybody wants to employ a legal workforce.
Sure.
That's not the goal, right?
Right.
But, whether it's agriculture, hospitality, or construction, we depend on a lot of foreign labor, right? And, we've always advocated at Roofing Day and other places in D.C. that we need a vehicle to allow temporary protected status or an easy way to have a work visa to allow workers to come in and out. You can't have hardcore immigration and not have the other part of it, right?
Right.
So we are seeing a little bit of a chilling effect, but, the message is again, very small percentage. Look, if you take the opportunity to make sure that you're training your employees, you're keeping a safe job site, you're doing what you can to keep neighbors and customers happy, then, that's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on keeping your head down, doing your job, and reassuring your crew, or if you have subs, and giving them access to resources in the event that something happens.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Trent, thanks as always.
Thank you.
So
It's
much
great seeing you.
always.
Yeah,
it's great
absolutely.
to be here. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content. But most importantly, stay safe and healthy, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks, Trent.
Thank you.